Hi, I'm Steve Holland. I'm the director of the Montana Manufacturing Center. We just are concluding a really great conference. One of the major features of our conference is a product display of things that are made right here in Montana. We have about 65 different companies and here with a number of different products, which is just a small sampling of the products made in the state's 3,000 manufacturing firms. Some interesting examples are how they work together. This company, for instance, Quick Industries in Belgrade, makes a large number of products for a wide range of people, including a couple of Montana companies. This is made for Westpaw Design in Bozeman, and this is made for Sims Fishing Products in Bozeman, and they then assemble those into their products, their final products. And as we move along, we see a lot of wide range of interesting things. This product here allows you to clamp onto a piece of steel, the side of a truck or whatever, to give yourself a very safe, quick way to hang things, hold things, get cables out of the way, all the way to some really sophisticated equipment like these made in Bozeman by Microlab. And they actually use a number of other Montana-based manufacturers to produce some of the components there, including like S&K Electronics in Ronan and other companies in Bozeman and Billings. And so you can see the integration of the products. And in the state, we make a wide range of food products. You see a sampling of some of those things here, from candies, to goat cheese, cereals, grains, other pastas and other foods. A lot of coffee roasters, tea. It's really kind of fun when you start seeing the wide variety of products that are made here in Montana. There's a lot of sewn products here in Montana. A lot of people think that we don't make sewn products in the States anymore, but it just isn't true. Here's pet bedding that's made in Bozeman. Here's Red Ant's pants, actually pants that are made here in Montana. There's a lot of high-end sports gear like backpacks. Red Ox in Billings makes a lot of safari-grade gear for bags and suitcases and that sort of thing. We make some chemicals. This is primarily some copper-based products made by American Chemist in East Helena. This happens to be one of the largest exported products from the state that goes into overseas markets. A lot of sports things like this. This holster is actually used by a police force, military, because it prevents a pistol from being taken out of a holster by somebody else. You have to be the owner to be able to pull that out of that holster very well. This is a very green product. This is made from small diameter larch right here in Montana. This whole door, this whole window setup is just beautiful work, beautiful casing work.
Check, testing, 1, 2, check.
There's a number
check,
of
1, 2,
wineries in the States, a number of breweries in the States, and here's a sample of some of the wines. And then some fairly heavy industrial things are made here in the state, like these gears and other components made here in Missoula by Diversified Plastics. Some fairly sophisticated work being done with this. And things like stone, cutting stone for decorative stone and that sort of thing. Here's a door made in Manhattan, Montana. It's a high-end decorative door, just an example of the kinds of things they do. And then some of the best boots in the world are made by Schnees in Bozeman. And here's an example of one of their products. So we make a pretty wide range of products in the state. This product is very interesting because it's made from a waste product, and it's a very high-end, very nice countertop, other components like cutting boards and that sort of thing. This company was able to take a waste stream of theirs and convert it into a very high-end and very nice product. Here's everybody's favorite brewery, I'm sure, is the makers of Moose Brewing, Big Sky Brewing in Brazil. It's a fast-growing, very dynamic company with excellent products. And we make other interesting things. This is a sample of a rescue wrap. It's actually a fairly large sleeping bag type thing that accident victims and so forth can be put in. It prevents thermal problems. It keeps them warm. Doctors can work with the patients very well. It doubles as a stretcher. They can carry, as an emergency stretcher, carry people out. Rumor has it that Jessica Lynch was rescued in one of these early in one of our endeavors. A lot of focus on environmental products in our state. Here's an environmentally safe toilet that can be used in the wild, on the ships, on boats, any place. The key being a biological product that's included that biodegrades the waste very rapidly and into a very safe format so that it's environmentally friendly. And here's a product that's shipped around the world. It's a specialized clamp that works to close off a natural gas line when they need to work on the line to repair it, and it allows them to go in with a very narrow hole without building a huge trench that men need to go into that oftentimes results in a collapsed ditch or injury and a lot less excavation. So this product is shipped around the world, made up here in the Kalispell area, and a lot of things like animal feeds and that sort of thing. And this product, made by Montana Hydraulics in Helena, actually this is just a sample of how it would work, but it's the tooling that's required to take a log and turn it into a post or a round product to become a raw material for making other things, everything from furniture to porch swings, to logs. And so that'll give you a pretty good idea, a quick sampling of some of the kinds of high-tech and low-tech products that we do here in Montana. We have, maybe 65 different ones here, but there are literally thousands of different products made here. So at this point, we have what I think to be a very special treat for you. You'll recall I said that last year, and then I introduced an accordion player. So you'll have to tell me if you thought that was a special treat or not. But my sides hurt from laughing when Bob got done last year, 2 years ago. But this year, I have a completely different approach to the closing speaker. Ken Green, from the president of Timberline Tool, is going to speak with us, and I've asked him to do something just a little bit different. Ken has been a longstanding member of our advisory board. He served as chairman. Ken has traveled to Washington, D.C. with me to help with lobby efforts and to visit the Hill. Ken was on the very first ever MEP-sponsored trade mission to Turkey. He's been through the Ulrich Winning Ways process. He's one of those pioneers. And he spoke to the MEP training conference in April. That conference has about 1,000 people from the MEPs all over the United States, including many of us there for different kinds of training. And he was one of the speakers there talking about that. And when I heard him telling about that experience there, I asked him then if he would please share that same experience with us here and also share a few closing thoughts about the conference itself. And so with my great pleasure to introduce to you my good friend Ken Green.
I'll try to make this quick. I know that there's two people here that we all work together, and they've got to get home. So anyway, I want to thank you all for the opportunity to talk. It's just it's kind of humbling in a way, in many ways, and it's that this has been a fabulous conference. And I want to personally thank both Debbie and Steve and everyone for all the work they've done. It's amazing to put this thing on. But it doesn't really end there either. We've got a lot of exhibitors and sponsors that really, they're the mainstay. And you know, that's what I do. I exhibit and I sponsor. And I know who pays for this kind of place. And so that really a really round of applause goes to those guys. The agenda here was just fabulous. I got to looking at it, and for a small business, especially for what I always look at as I'm going around doing stuff, to get places where you can get with seminars of planning and research, growth, and then to end it all with how to sell your business. I mean, it's just the full meal deal here. It's just there might be a light in the end of the tunnel for some of us on selling. So. But anyways, started out Doug giving a great speech. He's fabulous, and of course there are all of you sitting here that deserve a great round of applause also for just taking the time out of your schedules to be here, making this thing so successful. And I know that this conference once again for me has given me the time to interact with everybody, gaining some benchmark insights to everything, and so that I owe a great thank you to the MME staff for all they've done for Timberline in the past. So anyway, my political part of the speech. MMEC receives funding from the state of Montana. And that funding has been in place for almost 10 years now, I believe. And so it's one of those things that now that funding is up for review this next session. So if you feel that MMEC and this type of conference has been worth it, to go out and talk to your legislatures any time that you get and tell them what a great job this outfit does. And not only to tell them to continue the funding, but also the $200,000 was set like 8 years ago. Inflation has passed that, so they need to increase the funding. So if you get a chance, sure appreciate that. I'd hate to see this benefit that we all have as manufacturers go by the wayside. So when I accepted the invitation to speak today, I began reflecting on how in the world did I get here. And a lot of this kind of, what Steve said is that I've done a tremendous amount of travel here. And the opportunities that I have been a lot through the MMEC and the NIST organization. So I'm going to get to that eventually, but I thought I'd better just kind of show you exactly a little bit of how I got here and what we've been doing in the past time here. So Timberline Tool, for those of you that don't know, we're a small manufacturing firm located in right outside of Kalispell. And we're an anomaly. We're a research and development outfit that does a foundry. And so we do specialized tools for natural gas and water industry. And all of this stuff it's based on safe tools, quick, reliable, and it's all for the squeeze off of either pressurized fire hose or the polyethylene pipe, the plastic pipe that the natural gas companies ditch all over the world. So that's, in a nutshell, what we do. So I came out here from Fargo, North Dakota, years ago to attend the University of Montana, by the way. And one of the first courses that I signed up for was a history course from K. Ross Tool. And it was a very popular course. There must have been 300 kids in this current course, and so I thought, well, I learned a little bit about Montana, and I didn't know very much about it. The only thing I'd ever done is camped out here in the summer with my folks. So anyway, that what I really took out of that course is that his statement that Montana is a state of extremes, and when you're really looking at it, he characterized it by you've got Thompson Falls at 110 degrees, and you've got -70 over in Havre. And elevations from 1,800 feet above sea level to 12,800. So, and then of course he kept on going from there and talked about the immigrants when they came into the state and how the different cultures all kind of melded. So anyway, that when you look at Montana manufacturing and who's here today, it still is a state of extremes. And when you really looked at it, look at the products that are on this room. That everything from organic dairy products to to turning machines to how to pack your elk out of the woods on trails, and this doesn't even go into the fact is that we've got the lumber industry, we've got the mining industry, the heavy equipment, truck bodies, sludge pumps. So it's just it's an amazing, diversified business. So I'll catch up. But we all face common challenges, and the greatest challenge that Timberline faces is in growth. And growth is a wonderful thing, but unfortunately, like I said, there's a lot of challenges to it. And because we're a small company, especially in Timberline's case, we all wear a lot of hats. And there's often the tendency to get burned out with this increased workload of growth. And so we're constantly faced with some jobs not getting done, or the workforce being spread too thin. Cash flow is sometimes very troublesome. And especially, I've got a real conservative approach to growth. And the fact is that knowing that if we grow too fast, the company would really suffer. But since we all thrive on growth, that we have different stages that are going through this thing. And in Timberline, I'll kind of go through these different stages of what I've put up with Timberline and how we manage that growth. I guess that, just as an aside here, that since starting the company in 1995, we've grown by a factor of 10 in 13 years. So, in 1995, my wife and Janine and I purchased this small little manufacturing company to produce these specialized tools. And we incorporated and to continue to manufacture these the tools that are made out of aluminum. And we do everything in Kalispell. We cast the tools, we machine them, assemble them, and ship. And so our mission was to grow the business and stay in the Flathead Valley. So at that point, we had one employee, and we did everything else, from the marketing, sales, shipping, receiving, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and it was a task. We had 3 products at that time. It was an interesting time in life, and I'll never forget checking the balance sheet and the profit and loss daily, just to see how we were performing against forecast. And planning was definitely on a day-to-day basis. And the paychecks were also on a day-to-day basis. And in early 1997, in 1996, our products began to get discovered. And we moved away from just existing to what I consider to be surviving. So survival is finally getting the business to a point where we're generating enough cash to pay the bills. And it doesn't really necessarily mean that I was still able to get a paycheck, but we were working on that part of the deal. And the worry about cash flow wasn't near as great as it was before. So we were able to hire additional employees to reduce our workload. And the employees were hired for specific duties, but we didn't have job descriptions. Everybody still wore a lot of hats. And our planning evolved somewhat as we moved from daily planning schedules to we can actually look at a month to see what we wanted to do. So in 1998, we began to get consistently profitable, and our cash flow worries were infrequent. So we hired even more employees and were able to increase our production. And we started to think about the future of the company. And this is where we asked the question, do we want to grow? And if it's time to grow the business, how do we push on to the next level? The answer to this actually came from looking at our customers. Their operating procedures were changing, and they needed different tooling to accomplish their maintenance and repair functions, and our tools fitted that niche. So we capitalized on this opportunity with new product development. So in late 1998, we embarked upon this path to grow and bring new products, and it was a great thing. All the stars aligned all of a sudden, right at this moment, probably the first weekend of October of 1998. because I attended the Compete Smart conference. And it was just, I was able to kind of take a look at everything that was given out there. And, cash flow, we talked about that, hiring practices, all the increased duties. So anyway, so what happened is that I was able to go out there and take a lot of these things in and look at this and that and answer the questions like, gosh, we're starting all over again. We're starting to grow. It's like starting a new business. And the other thing is that now we had cash flow concerns again. And we need to hire more employees to handle the increased duties of growth while still maintaining our product line. And so it was, and the new equipment was needed, and then our accounts payable increased and added expenses and cash flow, so it was a big circle, and so away we went again. And it was apparent that we needed more cash. And so our biggest concern was how to find the financing to grow the business. So this kind of moved into how to look for this thing. And we knew we had a great workforce already in place with us up there. The Compete Smart conference, it just, like I said, it just lined up so that, here we were able to get a knowledge about all this financing, planning, the SBIR program. And unfortunately, it was an overload of information. And as I look back, it was time for Timberline to do something about the growth. And so I embarked upon what I term the Timberline shotgun approach to growth management. So what you do here in this one is you pick a topic, do it, but not necessarily in any order. And I think that's the key. So what I did is I just attended about every seminar that MMEC would do. I heard about SBIR grants, and I thought, boy, this is really the ticket. I can get somebody to help fund this research. It was just all the networking end of the deal. And so that what happened on this whole thing is that I decided, okay, we'll do a little bit of product costing, and Patty helped me with that, and we did a little bit of this, and somebody else helped, but I never put it all together. And so then in the meantime, the SBIR was looming out there, and we thought, we'll just write ourselves a proposal. And luckily enough for us, that what happened is that we were awarded a Phase 1 SBIR grant. So one of the requirements of the SBIR grant is that we needed a financial management program. Now, our existing accounting software was working just perfect for us, but we needed something that would not only help us in our business decisions, but also track our inventories. So we decided it was time to purchase new software, which we went out and did. And without consciously knowing it, we were embarking on this journey that would provide us the software that we would, that we would need to take the next step to grow the business. But immediately, what happened is once we downloaded everything and plugged it in and started doing it, we encountered technical problems. And so we needed to talk to tech support. So we called AZ Accounting over in Helena, and Keevan Kelly answered the phone. And that was probably one of the best things that ever happened. We hope it's one of the best things that ever happened to him too, but to us is that he was able to answer some questions and say, well, what are you trying to do? And ever since then, he's just kind of been the business consultant and advisor that we really needed to help grow. So, and at the completion of that Phase 1 grant, we applied for and received the Phase 2 award for that same grant. So things are just kind of moving right along, and I'm still at shotgun approach of trying to figure this and figure that out. And so that we got midway through that project, and in discussions with the Department of Energy back in Morgantown, that they all of a sudden thought that this other idea that we had was just perfect, and so they awarded us a direct grant from the National Energy Technology Laboratory. And this is to develop a system and a tool to repair damaged or defective PE pipe. So the whole thing kind of fits all back together again, is that it's the network that we developed through that first Compete Smart conference that got us into the SBIR, that got us into Nettle. And we continued to work like crazy on this whole thing. And then SBIR said, well, listen, we'll even help you develop a strategic business plan, and through their commercialization assistance program. And so we even did that. So in the midst of all this, of course, we were going like crazy. We also applied for and received a workforce training grant from the Department of Commerce, so that we were able to take our people that were working for us. We were buying new equipment, and we were able to get them schooled up and up to speed to where we needed to be. So everything was kind of fitting all in the way it should be. Then opportunity really knocked on the door. The night of March 3rd was, I still kind of get choked up about this. You hate to see that picture. Anyway, excuse me. The night of March 3rd was it was a tough night for us. But we look at this event now as a real opportunity. That we were the victim of an arson-caused fire. It completely destroyed the manufacturing facility. And it's interesting how this whole thing happens. All the things that go through your mind as you watch your building burn. That we thought, boy, this is it. How are we going to survive? How are we going to do this? But after the initial shock, we always realized that we were given an opportunity to restructure and redesign the entire facility. So, with the support of everybody we had there, we rebuilt the factory and continued to grow. And at that time, I realized that we would need additional help, so that I knew that we could not put any more stress on our employees. They had all been through so much for the devastation of the fire. Our engineer, John, he was the first on the scene, and he had the added responsibility of dealing with the fire marshals. Production manager, Brian, he'd been with us for 2 months. His learning curve was really high at this time. And so that we knew we needed to help, and suddenly we were running another business and just dealing with the insurance company. So 2 people came to call when I really put in the phone, and one, of course, was Kevin. Came over from Helena, stayed the course with us, and many rounds of talking with the insurance. And the other one was Bill Nicholson. Now, Bill, with the field manager of MMEC there in Kalispell, he joined our team as an advisor for a layout and the design of the new building. And so it really worked out well. And that we can really say that in the end, and what we've been able to accomplish since that time, that we always say that good really does triumph over evil, and we're probably better for all this. So, but this also forced me to give up some of the reins of running the business, which is really good. Finally, I was able to start to delegate some of the responsibilities out, and I took a hard look at restructuring the business. And so that our experience with the insurance accountants, while grueling at times, what it did is it really gave us a good understanding of the financial way that we run the business. So through all of this, we were still doing our R&D work, and the market research showed on this new product that it was going to push us into what the next phase of growth that I really called as the high growth phase. This new product will revolutionize the way that the natural gas companies do their operations. We've developed a process and a tool that actually is for the permanent repair of damaged or defective PE pipe. Now, this is a super high demand from the natural gas companies. They're really looking forward to this thing coming online. And we realized at that point that this change was really going to bring a change to us. And that what we did is we needed to not only understand our business better, but we needed to put measures in place to grow the business. So the key word on this whole thing is that we wanted to do an organized approach to growth. And it was time for me to leave my shotgun approach behind. So this is what we did, and this is exactly where Bill Nicholson and the Eureka winning ways really came into play. So we felt as long as and this is the other thing, it was kind of the sidebar to the whole thing. As long as we were in this much turmoil, now is the time to restructure and do planning, because you know how if everything's running smooth and you try to change something, it's even worse. We had to change anyway, so we might as well do it all at one time. So it didn't even seem like a very daunting task. So we had Bill come in, and in addition to the factory layout and design, he put together the total package. And we had a value stream map. We reinstituted lean manufacturing. Patty had helped us on that years ago. Product costing, we did that. Statistical process control. We revitalized our 5S program, and we put in a pull system, a Kanban system for production in the plant facilities itself. And Bill was there just day after day after day with us, and it really worked out really well. In the midst of this thing, we also decided that, well, we might as well do Eureka Winning Ways. So, and what we were doing there is that the program was finally for small business. We thought that we had a need because we had new products coming online. And also the fact is that we were looking more at international markets because of the interest that was being generated with this new product. The word was starting to get out on some of the technical papers we had written. So that it became a real true team effort of not only the people in Timberline, but Kevin was there for the accounting functions, Bill was there, and of course the host of people at Eureka Ranch was just fabulous. So the outcome of this effort has been that we've been able to drop our inventory levels drastically. We've decreased our cost of goods sold. We've increased our profit margins. And we've also increased our international and domestic customer base through this. And you know, as much as I hate to say it, the system really works. So a portion of the Eureka Winning Ways program was to develop our international trade. And at the end of this all, that I was invited to go over on a trade mission to Turkey. And we just had a fabulous time. As you can see, the group of us sitting there. We were on a boat on the Bosphorus. It was given by the dinner was a reception for us given by the Turkish government. And so it was an interesting time to be in Turkey anyway, because as you're traveling in this boat, all of a sudden you realize that 200 yards around you, you're ringed by police boats that are not letting anybody get close. And to get to and from the dock, you're in armed buses. So it was an amazing thing that the security was so high, and I got to thinking it was probably because I was there, but until somebody mentioned to me that it was because the Turkish ambassadors and everybody were there. So, but anyway, so it was a great time, and what we came out of this is that the commercial service arranged for us to meet with 4 Turkish companies that were interested in distributing our tools, and out of that, we've developed 2 very promising leads. And it's my conservative nature a little bit. I'm still dragging my feet a little bit with them, just in trying to, first of all, I've got a language problem. We've got how do you do business, and then they're wanting to put middlemen in between everything, and I'm just kind of wondering how to really go about it. So we're still doing our little due diligence on the Turkish business. But part of this whole thing also was that we also were able to meet with the commercial service managers of 4 different countries. And it was Russia, Spain, Germany, and the UK. And out of those meetings, we were invited to the United Kingdom. And so I just returned from a Gold Key service in the UK. And what we did there is we actually talked with 4 different companies, 2 in Leeds, which is in kind of northwestern England, and then 2 right in London. And the result of this is that we're shipping tools to the UK for evaluation, and they're going into National Grid UK, which is the largest company there. And they have a need that our tools fit perfectly. And they said that if the evaluation goes right, you're looking at about initial sale to them of 450 units. That's going to equate to about a 25% growth factor right there. So the point of this whole thing is that we had never been able to do this thing without a systematic plan. And we wouldn't have accomplished what we did without the network of MMEC engineers, our accounting functions, government and private funding, and the process has not been inexpensive. I can't tell you that it's been cheap to do this, but the rewards really are surpassing the investment. So anyway, here we are at the Compete Smart conference again. And last evening, before dinner, we were out here discussing exactly what are we taking away from this conference, and it was mentioned to me at that point that even though the topics have been discussed before, that you always seem to pick up something new, and it's true with me. I've been to every one of these since 1998, and so the Compete Smart conference continues to grow and challenge, especially challenge me. So it's a tribute to the staff and the management that you can do this time after time. I think it's fabulous. So if you're a first-time attendee or a veteran, I have no doubt that you have learned and prospered from some part of your attendance here. That and as you look back on these last 2 days, I hope that you have made new friends, that you've networked with other manufacturers and the field engineers, the speakers, and that you've come away from this thing with more ways to grow your business than you have time and cash to accomplish. So I look forward to seeing you all in 2010 at Billings. Thanks.
Ken, hang on a second.
Is this my payment?
No. Ken, just a little token of appreciation. I just can't tell you how much working with you has actually helped us as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it much.
Thank you very much. Okay, folks, I have one last housekeeping item. The next session begins October 7th, 2010. See you there.